Greetings, everybody. Hope you're okay. And I hope you are fine. It's a beautiful day here. Welcome. Fantastic. Fine. If you're okay. Let me put my volumes down. And I hope you are fine. It's a beautiful day here. So everything's good. Everything's fine. Welcome to our Poetic Flows podcast. We'll be talking about the beautiful things that podcasting has to offer. It's about poetry. If you can speak, I say you're a poet. If you can sing, you are a poet. Maybe you just don't have the skills or you don't believe in yourself, but definitely when you can mix your words together, construct a sentence, then you are a poet. Poetry is art. Poetry is rhythm. Poetry is poetry, isn't it? It's a beautiful day. Beautiful night. For those who are nights, just 8 p.m. here. So definitely if you are around, hope you're okay, and I hope you are doing fantastic. Welcome to Poetic Flows. We have rebranded ourselves. It used to be Poetic Mondays, but now it's Poetic Flows because we had a new name. Let us flow any day, anytime. Poetic Monday was limiting us to only Mondays, but now we are back. Now we are Poetic Flows. Definitely thank you for tuning in. My name is Joshua, and I will be your host for the length of this session. So if you're new, subscribe to the channel. We are from Emerald Book Club, so that is our sponsor. We are part of Emerald Book Club, one of our projects at the book club. So definitely you are welcome. It is good to see everybody. Hope you're fine, and I hope you are truly well. So wherever you're watching from, definitely give us a shout. Let us know. We are grateful for your support, for your attendance, and everyone's watching who's been sending us messages, commenting below, replying to our posts on our pages. We are so grateful. It is fantastic. Thank you very much, and I do appreciate that. Definitely just give me a minute here to settle myself. It's a beautiful night here, so today is our first time to rebrand ourselves. Definitely, it's a good day to start again. It's a new branding. Hope you like the branding and everything we put behind. We put a bit of work inside for us to let me just close some of this. So don't give away too much, right? So you don't have to see everything like, oh, what's he watching? But definitely, yeah. So we are new, we are rebranded, we are fresh, we are ready to go. Oh God, that's me. You're ready to go. I'm gonna say greetings to everyone in the chat. Yes, a good day to be alive. It's good to say thank you for poetry and for much more that is happening. So I am going to share. I'm going to share a video into a moment. Let me share it so people can work logging on from another channel. Definitely welcome. So today it is all about Lamentations. I picked the book Lamentations. It is good. It is fantastic. It's a great book to read. Some will say it's not very positive. Some will say, oh, it's a bit sad and A, B, C, D. But yeah, it's a poetry and how they lament. Obviously, the word itself is lament. So somebody's lamenting. The word means lament, to lament. It's not about sorrow. It's about something really, I won't say positive, but it's to lament is to cry over something. Yes, to weep over something, to lament. So I'm going to read from my phone. Definitely. Give me 1 second, please. Let me just. Yeah, so it's about lamenting. We are talking about lamenting. Lament is to cry over something, isn't it? I'm going to go through give you a few definitions of the word lament. So if I lament, lament is a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. So to lament is lamenting, or is a passionate, or lament is a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. To express passionate grief about something. To express passionate grief about something. So that is to lament. It is a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. It's a complaint, express regret or disappointment about something. So that is to lament. So lamentation let's see, add the word lamentation. So lamentation would be something, so it's more like weeping. So it's a book of the Bible telling of the desolation of Judah after the fall of Jerusalem in around 586 BC. So that is our book for today. We're going to talk about Lamentations. So welcome everybody. Hope you're okay, and I hope you are doing well. So I'm gonna have the next a bit bigger there. So yeah, let's carry on. So welcome to today. So I'm going to talk about Lamentations, and we're going to read through, and then we are going to digest it. So I'm reading from BibleGateway.com for those who are interested to know. I'm using the King James Version. I'm going to use the King James Version for those who are interested. I'm going to use the King James Version. I'm going to share my screen now. It is, for those who want to know, I am reading from. You can see my screen, let me know. So here. Here we are. Lamentations. Let's go. Ready? So Lamentations 1, verse 1. So the theme, if you look on the side here, I'll read afterwards, but just introduce it. It says here, all of you, the book of Lamentations, probably written by the prophet Jeremiah, is a dark but beautiful book that reflects the pain of injustice and human loss. It's filled with crushing emotions, anger, desperation, fear, loneliness, hopelessness. So the writer goes on to say, if you are personally wounded when reading Lamentations, you may feel strangely understood and comforted. So that is a somewhat version. So written in Hebrew, author was, they say, this is Jeremiah, as I was saying. So time was shortly after the fall of Jerusalem in 586 BC. This the genre is poetry. That's how we are on our podcast. So it's poetry there. Original language is Hebrew. The audience was the Hebrews in Babylonian exile who are lamenting the destruction of Jerusalem. Why I use the word Hebrew? Because Jews are the modern day, but the original language was in Hebrew. So that means the audience were the Hebrews, just to clarify. There's Hebrew for language and audience is Jews. So the Jews were from the tribe of Judah, but the Hebrews were the whole 12 tribes. So I'm going to say the audience was the Hebrews, not the Jews. The Jews were only from one tribe, which was the tribe of Judah. As they say, it was from the tribe of Judah. So I'm going to say audience was the Hebrews. Yes, for clarification, because the language is Hebrew, the people were called Hebrews, and the Jews are normally people who are the tribe of Judah, who are the modern day versions, but I'm talking about the old Hebrews, the Hebrew people. So that is the setting of the book of Jeremiah, of Lamentations. So I'm going to read through, and then definitely I'm going to go through, and you can engage and join me. Here we go. How doth the city, I'm reading from verse 1 right here, and I'm going down to the end. So how doth the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How will she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations and princes among the provinces, how is she become tributary? So this is after the destruction of Jerusalem. So she that was great among the nations. And a princess among the provinces, how is she become tributary? I'm guessing now they are paying tribute to someone else after being great, after being in the moment. After being great, after being in the moment, they are paying tributary. I'm like, wow, how has this happened? How did this go through our life? So that's the beginning of the poem. My goodness me, this city is solitary, was full of people, but how she has become a widow. Her husband has left her. She that was great among the nations and princes among the provinces, how is she become tributary? Verse 2, she weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Verse 3, Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. So here we get Judah is gone into captivity. So this was where we got the name Jews from, modern way Jews. So there were 12 tribes, but this is only the fourth tribe, the fourth born, who had gone into captivity. So Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen. She findeth no rest at all, no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. Verse 4, the ways of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feasts. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. And she is in bitterness. The way of Zion do mourn, because none come to her to the solemn feasts. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Verse 5, her adversaries are the chief. her enemies prosper. For the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. So the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. And who went into captivity? Verse 3 was Judah right here, who went into captivity. So he's talking about Jerusalem and her children, Judah, who went into captivity. Verse 6, and from the daughter of Zion, all her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuer. 7. Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and of her miseries, all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversary saw her and did mock at her Sabbath. Verse 8. Jerusalem hath grievously sinned, therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yeah, she sigheth and turneth backward. This is a great verse, because no matter how much honor you have, once you are naked, people tend to despise you. Once you are naked, when you see your whole nakedness, people tend to despise you a lot and to turn from you. So this is a lesson to all of us. Once naked can be a symbolism of people read everything about you and everything about you, they tend to stop honoring you or despising you. So make sure that when they see naked, you're full of positive vibes. So when they see naked, you are in a positive mind. Because if you are sinning or if you're grievously in a negative state, then they will despise you, especially if you are in the wrongdoings, in wickedness, you are in murmuring, complaining, grieving all the time. This will make people despise you. So all that honored her despised her because they have seen her nakedness. Why? Because she had grievously sinned. If she was in a positive state, they would have been in awe of her, like, wow, we have seen her even to the core. She is beautiful, but because she was in a grievous state of sin, they despised her. So lesson learned, negative words spread faster than positive. Verse 7, verse 10, verse 9, sorry. Her filthiness is in her skirts. She remembereth not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully. She had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. This is another important thing to say. Once you are in the wrongdoings and you're exposed, people despise you no matter how great you are. Forget your color, your gender, your role, some say your background. Once you have grievously sinned or erred, or you've been 100% wicked, when people despise you, once they see your nakedness, once it's uplifted, once they see your filthiness, people tend to forget all the good things you have done. So lesson learned. So she remembereth not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully. The way that is the right to say it, she came down wonderfully, as in she came down beautifully. Like the way she came down was amazing. She forgot who she was. She forgot her last end. She had no comforter. Oh Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. 10. The adversary hath spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things, for she hath seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary, whom thou didst command that they should not enter into thy congregation. Another point is when you go down, once your defense is gone, even here could be anyone who is an outsider, who's not supposed to be in your sanctuary, in your body, in your bank account, in your business, in your family. So they come because they don't have the value of what you possess. They will destroy it. Not that they're in a bad state of mind or they are enemies. It's because they don't have any emotional hold value or emotional bond to what you have, or they don't see you as spiritual or as valued. The adversary has spread out, he has put his hand upon all her pleasant things. Whenever you lose your bank account or your partner or your business or your money, somebody comes and takes away everything. Why? Because you made a mistake or you made an error, and so they come for your pleasant things. Lesson learned, for she hath seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary. Your sanctuary is your private place, is your place of, of peace, of somewhere where nobody comes in. It's your zone where nobody should be in. It's for you to come and relax. That could be your marriage, it could be your partnership, it could be your bank account, it could be your home, somewhere where you come and people don't have to come and see. It's your private zone. These are people whom vowed this command that they should not enter that congregation. People say, hey, you're not allowed in here. Example could be you have a bank account and you don't want people to come in. It could be your friends, could family, but no, it's my bank account. You don't want to see your businesses, because why? They might take it, they might get jealous, they might destroy it, they might tell others. So it's more about protection and security, and so your prosperity can grow and be sustained. By now, 11, all her people saw they seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for meat to relieve the soul. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am become vile. So this is when people get desperate. Oh, they like, what, forget it. Give me. I need some food. Let me throw in my birthright. An example was Isaac and Esau, right? Esau had the birthright, but he gave away his pleasant things for meat. So the same thing is repeating. When people are desperate and you have nothing, you give away your sanctity, your body, your money. We are all guilty, whereby times you forget, and you trade it for a mere piece of bread, a morsel. So you trade your value for something small just because ever you've given up, or everything that seems to be going your way. So they have given their pleasant things for meat to relieve the soul. So somebody's suffering, like, oh, I don't suffer anymore, so I'm going to give away what is mine to relieve my soul. So this is when people become vile. This is a punishment that we go through when we have transgressed, or we have made serious mistakes. So we try and it's more like a bribe, but we try and give away what you have. Hey, somebody help me, please. I'll beg, give me a job. I'll work for you. I'll be your slave. I'll be your ABCD, just to let me get out of this suffering. So you give anything. You give all your pleasant things away. That's your money, your wife, your husband, your children, your goods. Please take it away as long as I can relieve my soul. Number 12, is it nothing to you, all ye that pass by? Behold, and see if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger. But those who are passing by, don't you say anything? Is it nothing to you? Don't you care? Look at my sorrow. Nobody's suffering like I'm suffering. This is true. When something's happening to you, you feel like it's only you suffering. When it's happening to you, it's like it's the worst thing ever, because there's no one who's suffering like I am just because you are experiencing it. But no, that's not true. It's because you've caused it. Because it's your turn, you feel like this is the worst thing ever. Only me is suffering. It happens whenever we are going through a situation. We feel like, why me? Why the world is against me? I'm being hated, or it's something, you feel like everything's against you, yet sometimes it's your own cause. Another thing here, I'll highlight it. Behold, and see if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me. This is saying, hey, is there anybody out there who is suffering just like me? Hello, look at me, guys. That is perfect. It has happened to all of us where we think like, what? How? Why? It's not fair. We were the same with this guy. He was with me, she was with me, but I'm suffering and she's not. You're like, why me? When you think the world's against you, why me? Is there anyone who is suffering like me in this world? No one. Yet it's not true. It's what we call a false memory, or a false affirmation of what you think is going on just because it's happening to you. Verse number 13. From above hath he sent fire into my bones, and it prevaileth against them. He hath spread a net for my feet. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate and faint all the day. So he hath turned me back, and he hath made me desolate. From above. Not your own, but from above. 14. The yoke of my transgressions is bound by his hand. They are rift and come upon my neck. He hath made my strength to fall. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands. From whom am I am not able to rise up. So the Lord hath delivered me into their hands, from whom I am not able to rise up. A good example is when you have transgressed, let's say you've broken the law, or you're in debt. And so now the person who is in debt, or you've such a contract, or you've asked them to do ABCD for them so you can relieve your soul. Now you are in debt to them and you're delivered unto them. Another example is when if you're arrested and you're in jail, or now you're taken to the world because you broke the law, and now you're taken to the world to be prosecuted. So you have been delivered into their hands, from whom I am not able to rise up. This is a big lesson to all those who are in upright position. If you are the ones living a righteous life, the day you make a mistake or you try to transgress, you'll be sent somewhere else, you'll be put into somebody's hands, especially your enemies' hands, those who hate you. And they'll be like, thank you, we want this guy. They're waiting for you to make a mistake, to fall. So be careful when you transgress, when you decide to break the law, when you decide to have some characters which cause you to fall or cause you to err all the time and make it a habit. Your enemies are waiting for you to fall sometimes. So the moment you fall, you will be in their hands, because right now they have power over you. Example is if you break the law, if you are caught cheating, or if you are robbing, killing, or when you're prosecuted, you put it in jail where everyone else is, and now they have power over you because you broke your covenant, or you decided to let your wife go. Now you're dealing with those who are on that level. Big lesson that it could be even a partner, it could be a relationship where you say that I have a good partner, but I left them for another one. And now you've got a price to pay because you are in bond with them, or live with their family or their friends, and they all are lower or different characters. Now you are in bond to them and you are delivered into them where you're not able to rise up. Lesson learned. 15. The Lord hath trodden under foot all my mighty men in the midst of thee. He hath called an assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as in a winepress. 16. For these things I weep, mine eye runneth down with water, because the comforter that should relieve my soul is far from me. My children are desolate, because the enemy prevailed. 17. Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob, that his adversaries should be round about him. Jerusalem is a menstruous woman among them. So, and this is a good, if you look at really from a view or point of view, when your adversaries are around you, when the enemy is around you, when they say the devil is around me, people say it's a devil or enemies. No, it says the Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob that his adversaries should be around him. People tend to blame others, oh, God is not around, oh, it's a devil's work. No, it says here, God himself has commanded and said that adversaries be around you. Why? Because you are the one in error. So God uses the devil to punish you. People tend to say, oh, the devil's working, oh, God is not around, God's not fair. God is the one saying, I'm the one who commanded your enemies to come steal from you, to come kill you, to come take your belongings, your thieves who come to your life. God sends them. So everything happening in life, God sends, the disasters, the bad things, the homelessness, the guilt, the shame, the rejection, the cheaters, the killers, the people who sue you, people who hate you. It's God who sends them. Why? Because he is punishing you for your errors. It's a law of nature. You reap what you sow. People tend to cry, oh God, oh, I'm guilty. Sometimes I feel like what? But I forget, oh yes, it's God who sends everything, the higher power who made everything. So lesson learned, don't ever, people tend to complain and say, oh, this is somebody else who is hurting, but no. Lesson learned. The Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob that his adversaries should be round about him. So when you feel like something is hurting, the state or the country or the government is against you, or you think the police or your neighbor hates you, that is the God commanding them to come around you. Why? You have done something wrong. So next time you feel it, in most cases, you are being taught a lesson. So learn your lesson and change quickly, otherwise it will be continuous. Lesson learned. So if you feel it, don't blame the devil. Say it's God who is giving you that punishment or that trial tribulation for you to go through. 18. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandment. Hear, I pray, you all people, and behold my sorrow. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. 19. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and mine elders gave up the ghost in the city, while they sought their meat to relieve their souls. Another time here is when you have your lovers, you have many friends who are around you, but when you make a mistake, they're gone. The lovers are always only time there only when there's love in most cases. Lovers are for lovers, not for war or for times of hate. In most cases, lovers are only there when it's time to love, when it's time to hate, when you're punished, in most cases, your lovers always disappear. Lesson learned, remember, your lovers are there for the good times in most cases. But when the bad times come, sometimes you're going to be on your own. So just to let you know, if you have lovers, in the good times, they'll be there. But when the bad times comes, chances are they might go. Lesson for you to learn, isn't it? 20. Behold, O Lord, for I am in distress. My bowels are troubled. Mine heart is turned within me. For I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword bereaveth. At home there is as death. Now it's when people are now saying, oh, so I agree now, I'm sorry. Now it's when time to repent, like, oh God, this is my problem, please. I'm in my bowels are troubled. My heart is turned within me. For I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword bereaveth. At home there is as death. So abroad is bad. At home is worse. The same thing, isn't it? Trouble everywhere. Verse 21, they have heard that I sigh. There is none to comfort me. All mine enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. This is a good point again in this poem, I would say, of lament. So when your friends or your enemies have heard that when you heard of your trouble, people are normally happy to see that you are in trouble because they're enemies. So they'll always be happy to hear that, oh, George failed, or George made a mistake, or George, it will happen to him. Because they're enemies, they'll be happy for you to see you fail. Never forget that. Your enemies will always be happy for you when they hear that you're in trouble. They'll be happy to hear, because why? They benefit from your trouble. So next time somebody is happy because you're going for something, think twice. It might be your enemy. Somebody's happy for your troubles, so that they are your enemies sometimes. But remember that they are glad that it is happening to you, not them, because it could be them. It's true. So when something happens to you and people are happy, it's because it could be them happy better you than them. Remember that when you are in a tribulation, when you're going for something, people are not really feeling pity for you because they are wishing, better you than them. Remember that when you are in trouble, your enemies are always happy and they're glad that it is you, not them. 22, let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me for all my transgressions. For my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. This is a good lament for those who have lost, who have made a mistake. It's called Lament, the Lamentations, chapter 1. This is after the destruction of Jerusalem. So this is when you made a mistake, or when you have lost everything, and now you go crying, oh, I wish, oh, my mistake, oh, people are laughing at me, I'm shamed, I have uncovered my nakedness, people now despise me. It's a time when you're on the ground, when you've lost everything, and this is a time when you lament. It's a very great poem. The words here are very, I would say, they describe a moment of disaster, of gloom, of darkness. I would say darkness, but darkness is a good thing, but of, of heart, of pain, of regret. Oh, I'm sorry. This is when sometimes it's too late. Oh, please forgive me for what I've done. So that is a good example of when people are going through that. So remember, next time when you have a problem, that people are happy sometimes to see that you are going through a problem, not them. Definitely is not them at all. So they are happy that it is you going through that problem, not them. It's not a bad thing. We all have problems. Sometimes it's our mistake that we are going through it. But to lament now, so that is the key of lamenting. So it's to weep over something. As we say, define lamentations. Lamentations is to weep over. This is a poem by the same prophet Jeremiah, and this was in 586 BC, long time ago. It flows. This is a cry. This is a weep. This is a cry out for help, or I'm sorry, or regret something you've done. That's definitely happening to you right now. So that is lamentation. So we all have lamented sometimes. Definitely something you've lost, and we sit and we cry, oh, my loved one is gone. Could be someone you've lost, or could be something you have lost, something you regret doing. And now you're in shame. People are looking at you. Then everyone's happy it's you, not rather than them. Then all your friends have gone, your lovers, your families, the people who support you are not there because they don't want you to be involved, because you know it will affect them too. I think we have all gone through that, to be honest. So Lamentations is a good example. We always talk about the positive, but this is also a positive thing because it teaches you a lesson. When your enemy is down and they're going through it, now you see what they're going through. Everything is positive. Good and bad, it is positive, isn't it? So this is a great lesson for you to learn and to learn from. Number one, when you are down, your enemies are happy that it's you, not them. They're glad that you're going for trouble. So don't always tell people your problems or what you're going through for this problem. Number two, avoid errors, avoid transgressions, avoid wickedness sometimes, because the punishment is greater than doing good sometimes. Sometimes you should make a lot of mistakes. Yes, you steal, but you run people saying sometimes it's worse for you to go through the tribulations of stealing than getting your own. Sometimes people think they get away with things, but the way the life ends up for them is the worst. The way they end up, you may not see it at the beginning that they may look like they're prevailing, but in the end, the way they die, the way they go out, they won't tell you, but they're suffering in silence. Why? Because they robbed somebody, they stole. Some people who are hiding a lot of transgressions, they don't tell you, but your mind, your psychic has, I don't know how I can explain to you, but you don't have that rest, that peace, because something you remember. Ever you're hiding from below, people want revenge, the family is looking for you, or the law is looking for you, or you have to move place to place, you got to keep your identity changing all the time. So you avoid, for those of us, we avoid transgressions. Why? Stand for the right no matter what. So even if you go, you go. Some people say, oh, they might kill me. Yes, you might die for being correct. You might lose for being correct. But it's better than paying the consequences of not being correct sometimes. People might hate you. You might be alone, especially in these times. You might be alone. People might not want to associate with you because you're telling the truth or because you're standing for your beliefs. Sometimes I get it. But it's better than following everyone else and losing your way. Don't worry about death. Don't worry about death. Death is just a transition to another state. Be afraid of death. Be afraid of being alone. Afraid of rejected. So some people would rather be wrong and make mistakes than be right and follow and stand strong. Whichever has made a choice. But for us, we say, you know what? Thank you. We are going to carry on. Doesn't matter. It's good. It's fine. But Lamentations is a very great book. It is a good book. It's a good book. It's great for you to read. So if you read the overview, you can read more people who wrote about it. Definitely look on the side here. So the theme says the prophet and his fellow Jews. The right Jews, because Judah was in captivity. Lament the devastation of the beloved city at the hands of Babylonians. So in the middle of the book, the theology of Lamentations reaches its apex as it focuses on the goodness of God. He is the Lord of hope, of love, of faithfulness, of salvation and restoration. In spite of all evidence to the contrary, his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Great is your faithfulness. You can read more about chapter 1 of Lamentations. This is a short summary. There are more we can read about on there. So definitely check them out and see if you like them or not. Book of Lamentations is great. We talked about defining lamentations. If you want to find the word lamentations, it is a passionate expression of grief or sorrow. It is weeping. We'll repeat, lamentation is the passionate expression of grief or sorrow. weeping, not just crying. Weeping is the really passionate expression of sorrow. There's sorrow, then you put in a passion and emotion, and like, oh, this is something which is hard. Not someone has hate you or has dumped you. This is something you've lost. You feel a part of you is gone. You feel a part of you is gone. Now, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not gone for that yet, because I don't think I've ever expressed passion in sorrow yet. I must say, okay, I'll take it back. I haven't experienced it. I'm not saying yet as if it's going to happen. I don't want it to happen, but I don't think I've experienced that passionate expression of grief. I felt sorrow, but not passionate grief. So this is another level of expression, weeping. I don't want to experience that. I won't lie to you. I'll be honest, do not want to experience that. An expression of sorrow, mourning, or regret, an act of instance of lamenting. The sadness and feeling sorry, or something that expresses these feelings. I like the first one better. The passionate expression of grief or sorrow. You're gonna put in the passion, the weeping. That is what it is, isn't it? That is what it is, the passionate weeping of that. So I'm gonna go through my concordance, and then I'm gonna show you my concordance. So if you read this, concordance shows you the meaning of words for those who are interested. So this shows you the meaning of the words in Hebrew, so we can have a better understanding of some of the words which we use. So how that the city is solitary, that was full of people, become a widow. So the nations, the word for nations here is gui, meaning a foreign nation, hence a Gentile. The nations meant the Gentiles in that. The princess means feminine of Sarah or Sarah. Oh, means Sarah. A mistress, that is female, noble, lady, princess, queen. The word promises here meant Medina, properly a judgeship, that is jurisdiction. Goodness me, I apologize, I butchered that. That is jurisdiction. Got it right, isn't it? A district ruled by a judge, a region. These are some of the words which we tend to. So Judah, who was gone into captivity, the word Judah comes from the word, in Hebrew, it's Yehuda. No J, it's Jehuda, Yehuda. Celebrated Jehuda or Judah. Oh, that is my last name, isn't it? So it's the name of the 5 Israelites, also of the tribe descendant from the first one of his territory, Judah. So the Jehudites came from Jehudas came from Judah, the tribe of Judah. So much of servitude here, the word servitude means abodah, is work of any kind. It's an act of bondage. It's a bond servant, effect, labor, ministering, office service. So they went into servitude because of the affliction. So the word here could be, because of affliction, I don't think it's ministering, it could be more of a bondage. It's a bond servant. So the Jehudians went into bond servant by the Babylonians. And here the word persecutors, Strong's Concordance 87291, is to run after with hostile intent, figuratively put to flight. That's what I mean, persecutors. And Zion, which is a common name, Zion, which we get Zionism from. So the word Zion here, Zion, is a permanent capital. It's a mountain of Jerusalem. So Zion here was a mountain of Jerusalem. According to the concordance, it's a mountain of Jerusalem. Mountain of Jerusalem. So there are more words here, but I'll look for Jerusalem, a few of them. So Jerusalem here is Jerusalem. As you see, the Hebrews use the word Y, not J. So the J, we say the Jews. This is a modern translation of the Hebrew. So the old Hebrews had no J's. So everything was Yah, Yerushalem, Jerusalem, Yerushalem, Shalim, Shalom, Shalom, Shalim. This is common in Ethiopia. So many people with that name, Jerusalem. It's very common in Ethiopia. I've had that name a lot of times. So it means a duo in allusion to its two main hills. The true pointing, at least of the former reading, seems to be that of H39390, probably from the passive participle of H584. Jerusalem or Jerusalem, the capital city of Palestine. So nowadays they put it as Palestine. So this is a modern version now. They've used J and say it's the capital of Palestine now, but before it was Yerushalim, which is a different version of Hebrew. So you see the difference. Jerusalem and Jerusalem is a big difference pronunciation, and there's a J and there's a Y, which is different. So if you read the old language, the old poetry they had in here, in the old language, it is good. Our filthiness, one word which we saw, tuma, is being unclean, talks about uncleanliness from H2980, religious impurity. In her skirts, we saw one. It means a bottom edge, shul, or something like shul. So in her skirts, they meant, the writers was meaning by implication a bottom edge. So her impurity was in the bottom edge, was in the bottom at all. So it was the worst in the skirt at the bottom. Her impurity had gone down to the least. I think, in my opinion, it's down to the bottom. If I'm wrong, let me know, but it means at the bottom. I think that's as in at the end, down, way. Not even the top, is way at the bottom. So that's how bad Jerusalem had become. The heathen here, it means H1471. It means a foreign nation. So people talk about people don't believe. No, people use the word heathen and they say, oh, you're heathen. So many people nowadays use this as a say, oh, you know, see, it's the heathens. No, a heathen just means someone who is from a foreign nation. It's nothing about believing what the same thing. Could be another Jew in another foreign nation, but a heathen was someone from a foreign nation. So people tend to use this now to look down upon others and say, oh, you're heathen because you don't believe it. You're not part of my church, or you're heathen. No, it means a foreign nation. So the original word means someone from a foreign nation, someone who's a foreigner, not someone who is not a believer. There's a difference. It's good to go back to the old word. The poetry is fantastic. Sanctuary here means something consecrated, a thing or place which is consecrated, especially a palace, a sanctuary. Yes, so the word sanctuary, which is mikdash, means a consecrated thing or place, something which you've given your value to. That's your sanctuary. Could be a thing or a place. If I love my laptop, that is my sanctuary. I will consecrate it and say, this is something holy to me. I don't want anyone to use it. I keep it well. So a sanctuary is a consecrated thing or place, which everybody has. People say, oh, God gave a Jew a sanctuary, it's not fair. No, the sanctuary is just something which is consecrated, which everybody has. Therefore, oh, it's not fair. How come the Jews were given that? It's not the Jews. Everyone has something which is special to them. So a sanctuary, every nation has a sanctuary. Every person in the world has a sanctuary. That's a place or thing which is special to them. Yes, not only to given to the house of Israel. People tend to say, oh, we are the ones. No, it's a space, it's a special place which everybody has. Just to clarify that, people talk about sanctuary, oh, it's only found in Jerusalem. No, that was their special place. Every nation, every tribe has their own special place. Just to clarify that. The congregation here means an assemblage, a company, a congregation, a multitude. So they are more, so it's good to have a concordance. So you can read some of the words which we tend to use, we don't really define quite well, or we have something else, different interpretation. That's a bit about it. I won't show much of it. So yeah, that is what some of the words which what they meant. Okay, transgression here, it means what pesha, it means a revolt, in brackets, national, moral, or religious rebellion. Sin transgression is when you revolt against a national, moral, or religious act or law, isn't it? That's a transgression. So if you have laws in your country or in your tribe and you go and you revolt against them, then you have transgressed. So in this case, it was I think it was all three, because it was moral, it was national, and it was religious in terms of their beliefs, in terms of nationality, and in terms of also the moral law. So for the Jews, for the Hebrews, it was all three. For other nations, it wouldn't, because some people didn't believe. But for them, because it was national, because they were Hebrews, it was a national identity. It wasn't like a religious identity. They also had the religious part of it and also the moral part. So they had the worst punishment because it was all three. It was national, as in my national identity. Moral was part of their ethics. I mean, religious was part of their spirituality. So those who don't believe in God normally we transgress the moral or religious or the laws come by the country, but not the nationality, because they were not part of the covenant if they didn't make a covenant, if you know what I mean. So I think the punishment was higher for those who believe, because you know what you're given a different value, and if you deny it, you have a higher consequence to pay. That's why the sins were double more than everything else, because why? You fell from high down below. Why? Because you transgressed. They had all three: national, moral, or religious. It's one of the three, but for them it was all three. People transgress normally transgress against the national laws. So these people who protest is national, not religious. But when the Jews, we use, or the Hebrews protested, when they had a transgression, it was all three, because one, the Hebrews, people, the Bible, it's a national identity. The identity was national. It was the tribe, it was them. The way of life was it. That was the way of life. So one transgress could cut all three. One transgression was national, was moral, and was religious in all three senses. If you get what I mean. So one transgression will go cut through all three categories. That's why I think the punishment was greater than other nations, other who transgressed, because it transgressed all three parts together, in my opinion, definitely. So the heart here is, I love this one. The heart is also used figuratively. Is very widely for the feelings, the will, and even the intellect. Your heart is your feelings, your will, and your intellect. The heart is the center of anything. So your heart is something unique. It's an engine. We're not talking about the heart, but here the word heart says very widely for the feelings, the will, and even the intellect. Likewise for the center of anything. So the heart is something very peculiar. It's amazing, something you need to learn how it works. So you're gonna put your heart into things. When you use your heart, you're using your will and your intellect. I talk about the thoughts and how you use your conscious and mind. I do talk about that, but also you gotta put in your heart as well. It's where you get in your feelings. If you use your thought and you back it up with your feelings and you use your heart to enter as your will and even intellect. Yes, we talk about the mind. I'm a mindset coach, but because people have the heart, but they forget about the mind. But the heart is one of the most powerful things you can use. It's your will, your intellect. Once they say do something, you got to put your heart into it. So when you put your heart into it, you're putting in your willpower, your intellect. You're putting in the center of anything is your heart. If you put it in, you must guess you succeed, because you're putting in your heart, and your heart drives everything. It drives your feelings, your thoughts, your intellect. So learn the powerful meaning of your heart and how to use it. So that is it. I won't go too far, but that is Lamentations 1 verse 1. So here you can see it talk about references, visible meanings to that. I'm going to stop sharing there for a minute. That is the book of Lamentations 1. Thus, the whole chapter of 1. That is the whole chapter of 1. So that is our end for today. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's about lamenting and weeping today. It's about lamenting and weeping, an passionate expression of crying, of weeping. So definitely this is a lesson for me to learn. Oh my goodness. Avoid transgressions, moral, religious, national. I avoid them at all costs, because this is the punishment people get. This is the punishment, and it's painful. Somebody's crying, is weeping from their own decisions. No one else is to blame apart from you. I don't want to get to a state. I say never. I never want to be in a state where I have to weep for my own decisions. It's better I weep for somebody else hurting me than for me hurting somebody. It's better I weep from somebody attacking me or putting me down, but not for my own actions, because I think that is the worst, because I am responsible for that. If somebody else goes against me, that's different. I'm not responsible for the actions. I'm responsible for how I react. But if I decide to go transgress, to hate somebody, to steal, to kill, against the law, then I'm responsible. I mean, I have more to lose. That is poetry at its best. Goodness me, I love it. That is poetry at its best. That is poetry at its best. We're talking about the poetic flow of words. Oh, Lord, my transgressions, my nakedness. Oh, my children have gone. This is loss. This is poetry in motion. I am moved. Oh, God, the Hebrews, oof, that was bad. They lost a lot more than any nation because they transgressed 3 times in one transgression. So that's a big punishment. That's a big lesson as well. But that's also good poetry as well. It's a good story. I feel like I can do another version of this, or part 2 of this. This is poetic flows. This poetry which is flowing. I'm in the mood. It's uplifted me. Definitely. But thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that. Definitely. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So we are new. So I hope you enjoyed our podcast for today. It's all about poetic flow, and today was about Lamentations 1. So we shall see you again next Monday for another episode of poetry. Hope you enjoy that. And definitely, if you are interested to want to look, we're looking for poets with classical talent and those who have deep expression and passionate experience of words to come join us. Hope you had a good moment. Hope you enjoy that. I'm going to play out the video before we go. Definitely to say goodbye. That is it. That is poetic flow, rhythm, and art of speech. I hope you enjoyed that. So we'll be live every day, every Monday at 8 p.m. Definitely looking forward to that. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this was a great episode. Hope you have enjoyed that. And we shall see you again another time. Have a great night. And this is me signing out. Look after yourselves and goodbye. One more video for you before I go. Hope you enjoy this one. One more for you. Poetic flow.